Hey folks, this is Kalani. One of the big new features that a lot of players are excited for in patch 9.2 is the ability to equip two legendary effects at the same time. Not only are legendaries incredibly powerful, but they also have a higher item level, so being able to equip two will give you a huge boost over any other gear type. There's also a lot of fun legendary effects you can use, so let's go through everything you need to get double legendaries in patch 9.2. Before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. The first thing you have to do to obtain your double legendary is to complete the 9.2 story campaign. This week the last chapter became available, so if you're all caught up, the new stuff should only take you about 30 minutes or so. At the end of that quest chain you will get a Belt of Unity. This belt will have the effects of your currently active Covenant's legendary effect, and it will swap effects when you swap Covenants. Very useful indeed. You can equip this legendary alongside any other Shadowlands crafted legendary, but seeing as it already uses your Covenant effect and you don't have an option to change that, it's not worth using a crafted Covenant legendary anymore, so any other legendary plus Unity. That's how double legendaries are working this time around. After completing that questline and getting the belt, you can honestly stop there if that's all you want. The belt will give you access to double legendaries so you can play around with various combinations and have some fun. But the belt that you get is not ideal for several reasons. First, it is item level 265 and it cannot be upgraded. If you take this belt to the rune carver, you'll see it is not a valid option when trying to upgrade your legendaries, so our max item level for legendary gear right now is 291, meaning this belt is stuck 26 item levels below its max potential. The next problem is you don't get to choose the stats that are on the quest belt like you do with normal legendary crafting. If the stats aren't good for you, there's not really anything you can do about it. In addition to that, it's a belt and only a belt. If your other best legendary is supposed to be on a belt as well, that's gonna be a problem. So its item level is lower, you can't customize it at all, and it just isn't ideal. So if you want your legendary setup to be ideal, you're going to need something else. All of these reasons are why many players have been rushing to Revered Reputation with the Enlightened Brokers. At Revered you can purchase the Memory of Unity for 500 Cosmic Flux. Just be aware that you do also need to complete that last chapter of the story that rewards the Unity belt to be able to purchase this memory, so you need to complete that story chapter no matter what if you want to make use of the double legendary feature. After you take this memory to the rune carver and unlock it, you'll be able to apply the Unity effect to any slot by using legendary crafting. This legendary can be crafted in the exact same way as any other legendary. You will need Soul Ash, Soul Cinders, and Cosmic Flux to upgrade it all the way to item level 291. You will also need a base item at whatever item level you're creating or upgrading the legendary to, and you'll need those missives to select the stats. It's also worth noting that the rune carver memory will unlock for your entire account, so all of your alts will have access to the Unity effect from the rune carver, even if they don't have any Enlightened Broker rep or even haven't done the Unity belt questline. As soon as you unlock that rune carver memory for Unity, all of your alts can just craft it straight away. So unlocking the memory is going to be huge for anyone who loves to play around on their alts. Now, because you can craft a Unity legendary in any gear slot, you have a lot of options to consider. Let's pull up my gear window here and see where we might want to craft this legendary. If you expect to loot tier gear, I would avoid those slots for now. So head, shoulders, chest, legs, and hands. You're going to want to put tier slots there to get your force set as quickly as possible. And if you don't have your force set already, you're not really going to be sure what slots you're going to be using to get that force set. So we'll leave those off for now. That leaves us with most of the off pieces. Primary stats are typically weighted higher than secondary stats, so jewelry is going to fall a little bit out of favor depending on your class. There are some pretty great rings and necklaces from the new Raid of Mythic Plus 2, so most of the stat combinations are covered very well. We also want the highest stats possible on our piece of gear because it can go up to item level 291 very easily, and you're not going to get any higher than that from any other type of content. Belts and boots have higher stat budgets when compared to cloaks and wrists, belts and boots always having more stats on them, so for the most part, belts and boots are very safe options. But then you also have to consider your other legendary items. If you need to craft a legendary in a belt slot, you don't want to craft a unity in the belt slot as well. If you need to craft another legendary on boots, you get the idea. So you have to take your other legendaries into account as well. I would look up what your current best legendaries are supposed to be. Wowhead is a great source of information for this generally, and look up maybe the top few legendaries, especially if you want to play in raids, Mythic Plus and PvP, because each type of content might use a different legendary which might need to be crafted in a different slot. See what slots those legendaries are going to be crafted on, and then figure out what slots are left over for your Unity legendary. In addition to that, you should think about the potential of using off-spec legendary effects and gear as well. If you play more than one spec, the Unity legendary can be equipped for everything, so you'll need more than one legendary for your other legendary to equip, which will probably be crafted in a different slot. Right now, my Hunter is a great example for this. My Marksmanship legendary is crafted on wrists, while the Survival legendary is crafted on belt. That means the best option left for me is going to be boots, because it doesn't clash with anything that I want to play. In an ideal world, you would actually want to craft the Unity legendary on the tier slot that has your worst stats, assuming that slot is not already taken by your other legendary. That's getting into the nitty-gritty of things though, and unless you have all 5 pieces with the freedom to swap things around whenever you want, or at least the 4 pieces at a high enough item level that you would use so you don't have to swap things around, then you can start to look at those really high budget item pieces for your Unity legendary. Personally, I'm not there yet, and I'm not sure how long it's going to be before I get there, but eventually I will recraft my legendary into a different slot, probably head when I have all the other set pieces that I need at a high enough item level. For now, the boots work perfectly, nothing clashes, and I can happily dish out some major damage with my double legendaries in play. Remember that if you're using a Covenant legendary before getting your double legendary, you can scrap that Covenant legendary to recover some of the materials if you want to. You will not get the base item, but you will get Soul Ash, Soul Cinders and Cosmic Flux if they were used to upgrade that legendary initially. I was using a 291 Covenant legendary that I scrapped to make my 291 Unity legendary, because with the Unity legendary there's never any room for a Covenant legendary going forward, so it doesn't really have any other purpose. It will also save you a few Torghast runs as well. Now, if you're coming to this without spending a lot of time in Shadowlands in general, and if you're not sure how legendary gear works, to craft a legendary piece, you're going to need a base item. These are crafted, so you can either buy it from another player, you can craft it yourself if you have all the experience needed, or you can just get it on the auction house. You'll need a legendary effect, in this case specifically the Unity memory that comes from Revered Reputation with the Enlightened Brokers, as well as 2 missives to select your secondary stats, once again crafted by players with the Inscription profession, or you can just buy them from the auction house. If you want haste and crit on your legendary, use a haste and crit missive. Slap all of that together in the Runecarver menu and you'll be able to craft a legendary easy peasy. As far as the currencies go, Soul Ash and Soul Cinders come from Torghast and Torghast only, while Cosmic Flux comes from the Zereth Mortis zone in Spadefalls, so that currency specifically shouldn't be a problem. If you have any leftover questions about how any of this works, about which slots are going to be the best, or anything to do with the double legendary feature in 9.2, maybe how to craft it, where to get it, any questions at all, feel free to leave those in the comments below and I will do my best to help you out. I'd like to say a big thank you to all our supporters over on Patreon and to everyone who subscribed on Twitch. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I'll see you next time.